Hey guys, so we're out here at K&M Precision out here in Finger, Tennessee. You guys have probably seen this facility in all kinds of videos, and a lot of really high-end precision shooting matches are conducted here. I'm out here doing a 2-day train-up for Brantley Merriam and Jesse Cinco. They will be going with us to the Tactical Game Sniper Challenge that we are sponsoring later in February, or I should say later this year. Early in February, and they haven't had a whole lot of time on precision guns. Jesse used to do precision stuff a long time ago in the military, so he's going to be getting spun up, and then Brantley hasn't done a whole lot. As a full disclaimer though, I am not a precision shooting instructor. I'm just relaying to them information that I was shared with, the information that was shared with me a couple years ago by an active duty buddy who took me out and showed me what was going on over the course of a couple days. And then I've also been to Hat Creek a couple times, and I've been able to train with Brian Morgan and have some one-on-one instruction time with him. So I'm just going to be sharing with them a lot of the same POI that I was given. Obviously, it's not going to be as good as some of those other guys who do this for a living, but I want to get these guys spun up before the match that they will be helping improve stages on in February, and maybe you guys could get something out of this as well. So we're shooting, again, exact same POI that I had. We're going to start with zeroing, confirmation, and then shooting dot drills, 1-inch pacers here at 100 meters, standing up, getting behind the gun, just working the fundamentals, making sure they really see what's going on with the gun, can feel what's going on with the gun. Later, we'll transition into single target drills off of barricades, but for now, we're gonna spend a few hours just doing this. It's boring, it's very important. Then we're also going to consolidate information on Kestrels. We all have Kestrels, so we're gonna true the guns, make sure the guns are all working, get all the information into the Kestrels. Also using all the different apps on our phones for binos, Kestrels, LRFs. And so it's a lot of prep. Day one, it's a lot of equipment prep. Day two, we'll actually get into shooting some stages. I have a Sans Mark I here as a 5.56 secondary gun that I'll be shooting. And I've got a little prototype thingy, which is fun, for my LRF that I'm messing with. So that's kind of a proc testing thing that I'm doing for the precision gun, because I want to shoot with them doing the exact same drills they're doing. I'm shooting my Seekins SP10M. I've been shooting this gun for a while. Does very well and should be able to keep up with both of these bolt guns decently, quite well. Brantley is shooting the Accuracy International ATX. This is a gun that was sold to me by a good friend. For this, I needed help, and he obliged me by selling me one of his personal guns. So this is chambered in 308. Optimally, I'm going to get a 6.5 barrel for it so that it goes with my other guns. Brantley will be shooting this in 308, which will be super fun, and it's also the gun he'll be shooting in the match. And then over here, Jesse has my CSR, my Surgeon rifle, chambered in 6.5. Great gun. I've shot it out here. I've shot matches with it. Definitely a favorite, and so that's what he's going to be using. So we're gonna get started zeroing and confirming, and we'll see what these guns can do. For this first thing we're gonna do is we're going to get behind the gun. You're gonna find a pacer. Gun is empty. You are gonna position your body, take big breaths, and see what your reticle is doing. Once you are set and you're like, yep, that looks good, scope's moving not a whole lot, you're gonna get up off the gun. You are then going to resume the shooting position. I like to have my gun aimed at my target stand. It's already bagged. I just get up off the gun, and when I'm ready, I drop back down into position, build that platform that I had originally, get on a target, check my breathing, see if my reticle goes straight up and down. We'll do this once or twice, and then we will go live. Also, we are going to move our guns into the gravel. The reason being, we're not shooting on concrete tomorrow. Concrete is gay. The rocks are much more realistic to what you are going to be doing. The gravel, all right, so go ahead and get behind the gun, mess with your positioning so that the reticle does not move. Just shy on the right, safety, get back up. Do top left, small, 1 inch, and then we'll work through. And you're gonna do a whole row of 6, probably do a few more, and the goal is when you fire, see which way the gun jumps. See, obviously, if you got your hit, these are bigger circles, and it's a little closer than I normally shoot. So all these guns should drill them nice. And then what we look for is patterns, just like with pistol. If you're constantly left, that means you're applying too much pressure on the gun in a certain way. If you're always high, it can mean the same thing. And if you feel like, no, that shot was perfect, but I'm always high, it could mean your zero's off. So, a couple things. Your bag is going to have, or with your fill, it's kind of consistent. On his bag, he has a very noticeable valley, and then he has a very noticeable not valley. You would think, hey, I should put the valley on the thing. Well, you don't get a lot of surface area on the obstacle. Yeah. So you flip it to the flat side, let the valley sprawl outwards. That locks it into the barricade. Put the gun on that. So that's what we're doing with bag. What I like to do is when I have a barricade like this, I pre-game, if it's a railing, I use the valley around the railing. If it's a flat surface like this, I go, well, I'm not doing that. So I'm gonna start flat side down and I'm gonna let it open up onto the gun. So I literally will have that ready and I'll have the gun, bag, gun, settle, positioning, all the stuff we already know. Your bag's kind of funky, but it still has kind of the same thing. But you kind of see like, there's definitely this side is a little bit more sewn to create a valley. So I would put the valley down or valley up, flat side down, and then gun comes in. So I'm gonna give you a target. I'm gonna give you a distance. You're gonna go on your Kestrel, or I guess you can use your LRF. You're gonna punch in that distance, and then you're gonna decide, do I dial for that target, or do I hold? But I do recommend right now, pull your Kestrel out. We're gonna go set some example wind and an example distance. The first distance we're going to shoot will be, all right, perfect. There's a 300-meter plate going up the hill on the right side on its own, and the ridgeline kind of slopes around right behind it, but there's plenty of space behind it. That is 303. So punch in 303 for your target. 8 mile an hour, 9 mile an hour. I don't know what I'm doing. Yep, so then what you do is, if you have this tail, this tells you which way the wind is coming from, and then you turn towards that, and that gives you the reading. So I was getting up to 10, up to 9, and I was getting like, right now it's low of like 6. And it's kind of between 11 and 1. So what I'm doing now is I'm going into my normal data and I'm clicking on wind. I'm setting it at 11 o'clock and I'm going 6 on my low, 10 on my high. So by default for today, when I say, hey, we're shooting a target at whatever, you punch that in and then you'll see 0.2 to 0.3. And
that's what that means.
Yep, and then it's a bracket.
So mine's 0.3 to 4.5.
Yep, shooting 308. That makes sense. I'm shooting 6.5, you're shooting 308. So then when I when I hit this target to say 500, well, that bracket's gonna go up, or the total is gonna go up, and then I see, oh, it's 0.3 to 0.5. And then when you're on the gun, you have to make that call right then. It's on from the right, or it's from the left in this case, or right now it died. I don't have to worry about it. So we bracket, and the more accurate your bracket, 8 to 10, instead of 5 to 10, the better. But for today, right now, because it keeps fluctuating, I'm gonna leave that bracket at like 5 and 10. And now it's come back up. Now it's 13, 12, at like 11. It won't be a lot for us, it's not full value, but this is gonna push you 0.4, 0.6, even at 300. So we're gonna have some fun. Impact. Impact center. All right, left of the range at M2. We are shooting the middle circle, 440. All right, Jesse, you're up.
right. You're 3/4 of a mil off on the right side.
Okay.
So Brantley, you are offset from Jesse a lot. What looked like 3/4 for you is actually probably only about 0.2 for him. Because as you get further away, that splash for you looks further for him. But if you were to get in line with him, that splash hit that you saw is actually less. So what's 3/4 for you is actually probably only about 0.3 for him. So that, and you'll be separated in the match often. So think about that when you call for him if you're offset. Impact. Perfect. If you had done point the original, it may have been off edge. All right, consolidate your position to these two windows next to Jesse. You guys pick which window each you want to be at. You're both going to use a window. 353 at the M1. 353 M1. You're going to shoot the smallest circle.
Right on that, please.
Just over the top.
Just over the top.
All right, you're done. Jesse, you're up. All right, both of you come right to the windows that are just to the right of you, so a little bit higher. You'll each be in your own window. So technically that one was failed. That's okay, we move on. Far left range, M5. You will shoot the middle circle. The distance is 475. Impact. Impact. Impact.
Your left edge of point. Just off right edge. Over the top by a 10th.
All right, done on that one. Prone. Prone anywhere back there. You guys just get settled. You're going to be engaging M4, right of range. Distance is, you are going to be firing. You get 3 shots total. Your goal is to neutralize all 3 plates. So Brantley, you are going to engage. You all will both take turns. You may not move on to the next target until the other shooter has engaged. You can engage in whatever order you want at M4. Either shooter can go first. Y'all's call. Impact!
Impact, you are 10th right.
Yep, now you're shooting.
Impact! Okay, if you're both looking at the same target and you're in a situation where you both have to shoot before proceeding, which is super common, the second he gets impact, the second shooter should fire. If you're both on it and you're just playing the game, literally he gets an impact, you immediately fire and get an impact, unless you have to wait and watch a win call or something like that. So when you engage this next target, the gong, the second first shooter shoots, which can be either of you at this point, the second shooter should have a follow-up right behind it so you can move on. Impact! Impact! Much better. Following the same concept, both shooters have to neutralize the target before moving on. Your 2 targets are going to be this close silhouette in against that dirt berm right here. And then there's a silhouette all the way at the top. I'm not giving you a distance and no LRFs are allowed. Go. Impact! Slow. All right, next target. Impact! Impact! Also in the head. Nice. You both fired at the target at the same time at the close guy? Was that intentional? Okay, I figured. That's where if you let a shooter shoot to get the data, like you let him fire, go, yeah, that I was wrong, then the next shooter can correct even if that first shooter has missed. And you are gonna have stages where well, 1, you're never gonna know the rate distances of the targets. 2, you will be told, nope, no LRFs allowed. So then you either manually melt, which kind of takes a while, or if you naked eye, just look at it, you can be like, especially if it's unlimited round count, you're like, yeah, it looks like 300, 200. That target, that mover out there is like 300. That target in the back, there's dirt behind it, so if you miss, you'll see your miss. But some of these targets, it's at the top of a hill, so if you miss, it goes and you have no idea. So there have been times where I have no idea where I'm missing. So I aim at a dirt pile or at the foot of the target and I shoot, and then I go, oh, I'm like way down here. I need to come up an extra mil, and it's because either I can't LRF the target because it's over the hill, or I'm not allowed to. Or you shoot from a port that is this big.
Yeah.
Impact! Impact!
Left edge. Right edge. Off right edge.
Impact!
Hold left edge.
Impact!
Perfect hold.
That was a bad positional pick for me.
There we go.
If I can be higher, I'm gonna be higher.
There are 2 plate racks at the top of the range. There's one on the left, there's one on the right. Each shooter will have his own plate rack. You all get to decide which one each shooter gets. The objective is to clear all 5 plates. We are going to have what's called a start plate. You have to engage the start plate every time you go to want to shoot your respective steel. Brantley's the shooter. He shoots the start plate, transitions to his gong, his rack, shoots a plate, and then the second he shoots a plate, Jesse shoots the start plate, goes to his rack, at which point you come back to the start plate and get ready to shoot it the second he fires a shot at the plate rack. And as soon as you impact the start plate, then you get to go back to your plate. These are also super common. Usually the start plate's just big and easy to hit, but you're having to alternate this to here while coordinating with him because you each have to take turns on your respective shots at your plate rack. Stand by, go. Impact! 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 Perfect. All right, so we're back to Can-Am. It's day 2, and after the first day getting guns set up, running the guys through a few different types of drills or scenarios they may find themselves in the upcoming sniper match, but also other sniper matches, some of the ones that I've been able to do. We are now here at another part of the range, so they have not seen the targets downrange, which is very important for this because I've set up for them 3 different stages where they're going to have to find, range, and engage a selection of targets. Jesse has swapped over to a secondary gun, a Sons of Liberty Mark I rifle, the same one he's going to be using for the match. And Brantley is still going to be using the ATX in 308 as the primary gun. For the first stage, we're beginning them away from the range, so they're going to run up, so they haven't seen anything, get their heart rate up a little bit, but this allows us to set everything up without them having any prior knowledge. So we're going to stage them in the back for each run. We'll go through all 3 of these stages, and then we'll get to some isolated training afterwards. But the first stage, so after they run in here and they'll have their stage brief before, they'll get time to ask questions, and then we'll start the clock. Both shooters are going to arrive. There are 6 windowed positions. Each shooter has to engage 2 steel targets. They're pretty big. They're full-size steel. This is just for speed as they move through the structure. They're in the tree line. They're marked with X's, so they're very easy to see. And they're 295 meters, 300 meters. So Brantley will get set on one of these windows. Jesse will go to the next one, but they have to alternate their engagement. So Brantley will shoot a target. He has to wait for Jesse to engage and hit that target before going to the second target. Once both shooters have engaged both pieces of steel, and they're relatively close together, they're only 300 meters. It's a very good shot for secondary. It's a fine shot for primary. Then they have to shift their position to new windows. And they can use any window they want. So if Jesse's fast to leave, he could end up over there. Now they're a little bit separated. They still have to communicate because they can't move on shooting one target to the next until the next shooter has engaged. A very common type of engagement that I've seen in some of the matches that I've shot. Same 2 targets. So because they're shooting the same targets, that also allows them to visualize where I need to be. From here, they could do a bipod, which is what I would want to do. For speed, I may just bag off of here because it is only 300 meters. Then they transition from this position to the next. And it's also forcing some different positions. From here, it's kind of a sucked in bag windowed position. It's not too bad to engage these. Boom, wait for everybody to shoot it. Boom, next one. And as soon as they're done, they proceed out of the conics, where they will then make their way to the top, where then there is a series of vehicles further down the range with head plates behind them. Secondary shooter engages head plates on the close vehicle. Primary shooter shoots the head plates on the far vehicle. I'm giving them no specification for position, so they can tripod it, they can go to the railing. It'll be interesting to see what they do. There's enough room up there to go prone. That's what they should do. So while they're making their way up the stairs, that's where they should start thinking about, we weren't given any rules specifying a certain position. I'm deploying my bipod. I'm shooting down there. They'll know earlier in the brief that they have to shoot car targets later. So while they're in the conics, they could observe those to the right of the targets they're engaging and go, there are the cars, that's what we're gonna shoot. So while they exit, again, they're visualizing those and they're starting to game in their head the position they will get in. I'm not proofing the stage. I'm gonna tell them 5 minutes. This may actually be like a 7-minute stage just with all the window situation, the alternating shots. I guess we'll find out. Next stage is gonna be over here. Once again, they're going to move offset, so it's about 40-ish meters. We'll see a little hustle, which is always fun. They have to move into this tree line where I have stakes positioned, 2 stakes positioned for their firing line, also a very common thing to see in matches. And if you've never shot with them before, it can be a little confusing because you see this stick and then you gotta go find this one. And in this case, we have a range fan, so they have to be behind these sticks. The spotter will be back here, so it's very easy to kind of figure out. But the primary shooter has to engage between these 2 sticks. That way I can control what targets they have to find and shoot. But I wanted them to shoot a stage where they have to look through a bunch of dirt, a bunch of filth, a bunch of shrubbery, which wasn't really available anywhere else here on this bay. And the primary shooter has to identify 5 moose targets out to 920 meters, 1 shot on each. Primary shooter shoots first. At any time, he can declare done. Secondary shooter takes over, has to find his 3 or 4 green targets downrange, engage those, 1 hit on each. But after the primary shooter says he's done, he can't shoot anymore. So any targets he doesn't shoot, those are points lost. They know they're on the clock. So if he's having a hard time setting up his position back here, weaving a shot through some trees, I can definitely set up a tripod right here and do a weird shot on that far 920 meter moose. He can say, done. Now he's trying to spot for the green targets while Jesse engages those off of trees. This would be a great shot on 3 of them. And then he has to displace, move over here and shoot one on the far left. They have to stay within bounds. They're together and they're expected to communicate together. And Jesse, I hope, will help Brantley find the targets with the binos, having to move around in the shrubbery. And I don't think we'll have a lot of this concept at the GTI match, but any match that's out in the woods, like the one I shot down in Alabama, there's a lot of this kind of thing. So this will be fun. Then we have another stage. The next stage is pretty simple. This one, they're gonna have some boxes they have to sit inside of, which I will create using probably, once again, those stakes. Each shooter is going to be in his own box. Everything has to be in the box, so it's a cramped position. I shot one of these down in Texas recently. Really liked it. Really fun. They have a string of targets all in a row, so easy to find, but they can't use LRFs. So they have to range estimate with the naked eye. There's a man-sized target and a little raccoon next to it. Primary shooter shoots raccoons, secondary shooter shoots the torso. They will be given a dimension on the torso so they can manually mill. Frankly, for this distance, as soon as you figure out that first target and you're like, yeah, that's a 1.2 hold, you go to the next one, 1.4, go to the next one, 1.8, 2, and if they're thinking about it, the secondary shooter should be shooting first to kind of estimate some dope for the primary because his target is huge, and then the primary shooter has a very small little raccoon next to it. So they're gonna work through 5 of these targets to the back, and the furthest target is 403 meters, and the closest with a raccoon, 282. So they won't have LRFs. They're gonna have to look at it and go 400, and then look at their dope card that they all have and see what happens. So this is a pretty simple stage. It just focuses on a couple different things, and they are gonna have to build a tripoded position because the box is gonna be so small that they can't go prone. But let's begin them on the first one. Read them. Go! Impact! 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 Go! Impact! 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 Impact center! Impact! 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 Nice. Go! Impact! 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 Those were both in the neck. 345. So for you, you have to open it up wide for a recoil. But if you just do this, gone, and then you sit on your feet or whatever. Here, I want you to see just real quick. If you don't do anything to this, what is it? What does your position look like? If you can hold this, then that's cool. But it's fast. You don't even have to mess with the legs. You just open it and sit and shoot. So it's too tall like that. So you just have to kick one leg. Now you're good. I bet now you're good. I'm just trying to figure out what you can do with that tripod where you don't have to open the individual legs up.
Three, 2, 1, go.
So I'm really looking forward to our match coming up at the beginning of February over at Barnwell, South Carolina, where we are sponsoring the Tactical Games Sniper Challenge. So it's going to be an adaptive defense event because that's the kind of thing that we want to be doing with this new company. We want to be supporting events. We want to be supporting places for you guys to bring your equipment, like all this really cool like LPVOs and LRFs, and you've got plate carriers, you've got body armor, and hey, but you need a place to use it, and so that's what we hope to do with these events. As far as today goes, the guys got some good reps in. I heard them talking about different gear and things they need to tweak and they need to mess with, and that's the reason you go and train at a place like this, or you find somewhere you can train like this ahead of time before a match. Now, obviously, they're gonna go to this match in a little less than a month, and they're going to come back from that with a long list of AAR stuff that they need to improve. They need to fix gear that didn't work, gear they could get that might improve their performance. And that's the point of going to events like the Sniper Challenge coming up. So I hope you guys got something from this video. Again, full disclaimer, like I've only shot a few matches. Been around some different people who've trained me on some of this. I'm not a end-all be-all expert when it comes to precision shooting. I am still learning. I still learn stuff every time I come out here, either mistakes that I make with my equipment or my shooting, and then when I go and talk to other guys, hang out with other guys, I learn all sorts of different things, but I'm trying to share what I'm learning along on my journey with these guys and also with you guys. So I hope to see some of you guys at the Sniper Challenge coming up and at some of the other events we will be hosting. And we'll get you guys next time.